Aladdin. I told them everything was all imagined, and that my mind was just a weapon that I meddled in to make magnets. Told them I would win, I would never stop. Told them I would make it, told them I would fucking climb up to the top. How I did it, climb mountains, wasn't afraid of the drop. Put my city on the map with a bucket and a mop. What you thought? That I would pack up and quit? My mama slapped me in the face and she ain't raised no...
What up, world? It's your boy, Pablo Rodriguez, and we are here on the Self-Proclaimed Podcast yet again. So, guys, check it out. Today in studio, I got a fucking awesome guest, man. This guy has done numbers. He has changed lives. He has impacted not only in his local area, but he's impacted people nationwide, okay? This man has been on a journey in his life to get to where he's at right now. And let me just tell you where he's at right now. Right now, he is partnered with my good friend, Quentin Flores, right? They have a business together, just one of his many businesses. He has a company in the Philippines with over 500 employees that are aiding not only real estate investors, okay, but they're also helping regular businesses be able to systemize and automate their systems so that way the owners of those businesses can get back some of their free time while creating an ecosystem that enables him to impact a whole country of people by creating employment that actually pays good money, where these people can not only afford to take care of their families, but they can live a better quality of life. All right. Not to mention, he's also a fantastic coach, mentor to so many people who are just entrepreneurs and wanting to level up. So without further ado, allow me to introduce my special guest, Earon Bevans, close friend, partner, Harlem's very own
Harlem World, stand up.
World, okay. And he's also he's Harlem, San Antonio, so I can't leave that part out.
Facts,
you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
My man definitely came up out here in San Antonio and made a name that is just echoing in the distance. You know what I mean? So what's up, my brother?
Man, it's an honor to be here, bro. That kind of edification, man. I'm gonna leave here feeling better than how I came, bro. I'll put it to you like that.
You know, it's funny. Everybody says that.
I love it. I love it.
But bro, dude, you know you've done tremendous things in the real estate community, in the entrepreneurship community. Like, you're just doing massive numbers. But see, I know, and you know, that the gentleman who's before me, the guy who's sitting here right now, you know what I mean, Mr. How Ric Flair said, you know, Rolex wearing, limousine driving, and I'm having a hard time keeping these crocodiles down. You know what I'm saying? And my man, you're like the Ric Flair of real estate, bro. For real. So, like, you know, we all see that, but like, I know there was a journey to get to where you're at right now. You know what I mean? So take us back, bro. Like, really introduce yourself to the people and tell them how you got your start, man. Like, what was it like for Earon Bevans growing up? You know, what was it like? What made you begin your entrepreneurship journey? So first, matter of fact, first question, what was it like growing up, Earon Bevans? You know what I mean? How did you grow up? Where did you come from?
You know, it's funny because there's so many different stages of life. In a nutshell, we didn't grow up with a whole lot of money, but I still feel like I had a great childhood, man. I'll be honest. I grew up in a trailer house where my room smelled like mothballs, bro. To this day, I love mothballs, the way they smell, bro, you know?
I've never heard anybody say that.
But it's because I have fond memories, you know what I mean? And what's crazy is when I look back at my life, we went through some stuff, you know? My parents divorced when I was 9. That was pretty traumatic for my brother, and I got to see that. And it's funny you're asking me about this because I was just talking with somebody about one of the most pivotal moments in my life that made me who I am. And when I say who I am, I mean the person who comes in and I legitimately feel like I can control the energy in any room. And I know that I have the power to influence. I know I have the power to impact. And my mom always told me growing up, she said, baby, she said, you're either going to do really, really good by the world, or you're going to take the world by the horns and you're going to do really, really bad. And I never understood what she meant, but later I understood, or what I got from it was, she knew that I'm not going to sit on the bench. You know what I mean? I'm going to be making moves and whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be leading the way. But there was a pivotal moment that happened during this my time frame, you know, as a child, and it was when my parents were divorced, and my dad is leaving, my brother's in the room. I remember this like slow motion, P. And the reason why I revisited this ugly moment for me is because Tony Robbins said, "You are where you are in your life because of decisions that you've made, and your identity is up to you based on how you've interpreted your experiences throughout life. But you are where you are because of what you believe you deserve." So he says, if you don't like where you are in life, he says, I want you to go back in life to the moment you started deciding or interpreting yourself as less than a 10 out of a scale of 1 to 10. So I started going back and I was like, man, why am I not making more money? This was back in like 2013, 2014, when I'm looking at myself, I'm being really introspective and I'm like, why am I not making more money? And so it goes back to what you're asking about, why I am the way I am. And I went back to high school. I was like, no, in high school, I wasn't living up to my potential either. I was always confident, but never like, it was always a defense mechanism against my insecurities. You know what I mean? I went back to middle school. I'm like, no, I was saying negative things to myself then. It all came back to this one moment where my brother's in the room, my dad's in the doorway. He's about to leave us, the family. He's going. You know, and my mom is distraught. I guess they had been going through some turbulence, and my mom is begging him, please don't leave. I'll never forget. She picks up a knife and she puts it on her arm, and she said, if you leave, I'm gonna kill myself. My dad calls her bluff, and he says, no, you're not. Stop being stupid. And he turns around, and then she punctures her skin. I will never forget the sound that made and the vivid, you know, crimson red that, you know, gushing down her arm. And in that moment, it was like slow motion. I remember grabbing a towel. I put it over her arm. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I guess I had a high-pitched voice, and I was always a goofy-looking kid. So I said, Mom, don't you ever do that again. And I guess I said it was funny the way I said it. But everybody stood still, and then everyone started busting out laughing. My mom started laughing. She was crying. Yeah, she was laughing, but she started laughing. I guess it sounded cute the way I said it. And it was like she hugged me. My brother started laughing, and my dad started laughing. And my dad still left. But gangster, you know, THUG. But the way I interpreted that moment, there was two things that came from that. I interpreted from that moment, I have the ability to make people feel good in the worst moment. I can inspire, I can affect change in people's state. So that's one of the beliefs I took from that moment, carrying on even to where I am now, and it affects me, and it's something that I've used. The next thing that was the negative thing is because I took on this role as when the environment is not good around me socially, intimately, I am the one who takes it on and I lead the way. I never felt comfortable, even as a child, being vulnerable or talking about my pains or negative things or complaints. I never complained. I went back and asked my mom, I was like, what kind of kid was I? She's like, you never complained about anything. You were always the one that was like coming to ask me. But what was happening, P, is from that moment forward, I internalized all negative things that came in my life. So anything and everything was always my fault. Anything and everything, I took it, and it wasn't water off a duck's back. I was internalizing that joint. So I didn't realize that I was starting to say ugly things to myself. You're not good enough. You're stupid. You're dumb. You're too young. You're too dark. You know what I mean? You don't speak English good enough. You're not athletic enough. I started internalizing really negative things. So it was like that incident it was almost like by default I was putting my foot on the accelerator and the brake at the same time. Like I took on this ability to lead and this persona of, man, I can influence and I can affect, but at the same time it was all these, but also I can't, because I need to influence for the good, I could never share anything bad. And so I kept it all to myself and started internalizing. So it wasn't until I was about 22, 23 that I started on my journey of self-development to remove the roadblock of this internal damage, bro, that I had been putting on myself for the previous, 16, 17, 18 years. You know what I mean? So 2023, I would say, is when my self-development journey began. I was married. And I was called out on all that trauma, because when you're intimate with somebody, you reveal all of that stuff. So I was called out on all that trauma, and what I found is, as I started working on my self-development, now more opportunities came, because I was being awakened to, as I'm growing, I'm like, hold up, I can do so much. You know what I mean? And that's when, as my context grew, now the content, the things that could come in and things that I could facilitate and things I believed that I could do grew. You know what I mean? And that's where business came in.
Man, that's insane, bro. Like, to be able to get that knowledge from, reading a Tony Robbins book.
It was a YouTube, bro.
It was a YouTube
Matter of
video.
fact, P, I was on my way to the gym. The YouTube video, Tony says, you need to identify the moment you started holding on to limiting beliefs. And he was like, and here's what he says he's like, I need you to stop this tape. I don't know if you've ever heard one of Tony Robbins' audios, but he's like, I need for you to stop this tape, and I need for you to document it right now. Go back and revisit to the moment you started telling yourself a limiting belief story. And I traced my limiting beliefs all the way back to that one moment in that room with my family.
Wow.
But I did it though. But here's the thing. I didn't pull over. I drove to the gym. Once I got to the gym, and I think I've said this on one other, it was with King Kong. I said this on and I've never said this any other place. I traced it back, and I was smoking at the time. And so I was in a vulnerable state, and I was elevated thinking, if you will. Of course. And I was really in a state of focus, all jokes aside. And I go back to that moment, and once I got to that moment, it like hit me physically, like something said, like, boom, that's it. And then he says that, I'm getting almost emotional thinking about it, but this is an actual exercise that he says you need to go back to that moment, and he says your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between an imagined experience and a real experience. So your job is to rewire your mind, because you grew interpretations, you created interpretations from that moment, even if they were wrong, a limiting belief that came from that. So you need to go back, you need to replay that moment that happened, and instead of interpreting it wrong, now you need to change the interpretation, and you need to speak to that little boy. So you're going to pause the scene, and you're going to speak to that little boy. It's not your fault. It is not your responsibility to look after your parents. Everything that happens in the world that's bad is not on you. Yes, you're a leader, but you ain't that sweet. You know what I mean? It's not all about you. And you are amazing. You are powerful. You are not limited. You know what I mean? So anyway, I did that, and and he says to document it and write it. And bro, I still have that notepad, and I say it kind of, because I'm still a G, you know what I mean? But it's teardrops that run the ink on that page to this day. When I was writing that back, that was a critical moment to be able to revisit, like, boom, that's when the limiting beliefs began. 8 years old, you know what I mean? At my grandma's house, watching my mother commit suicide, almost try to commit suicide. You know what I mean? And what happened from that. And it just gave me so much clarity. But I sobbed and wept like a little baby bag something, bro.
Man.
Yeah.
Bro, last year I went through not the written version of that per se, but like the live version of that with Preston. Like, so Q had flown me out with the squad to Phoenix. And introduced me to Preston, and Preston was part of Tony's whole Lion Club and all that upper echelon shit, right? And literally, I sat and had a conversation with Preston, bro, and he literally was like, dude, you are like all the way blocked up with so much trauma and shit. He's like, if you're open to this, we can sit down and I can help you out. And to me, I was like, at first in my mind, I was like, this has got to be some bullshit, right? But literally, Q looked at me, he said, bro, I had to go through the same thing, it helped me. And I was like, all right, I got open to it, right? And literally, Preston walked me through exactly what you were talking about. And it was a tearjerker moment, you know what I mean? And I don't even think I went that far back in my trauma. For you to go all the way back to 8 years old, bro, that's wow. I don't even know if I remember stuff that far back.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, man, like, so now going through that, processing what essentially, was blocking your blessing, so to speak, or blocking your potential, right? Now, excuse me, going through that, I don't assume everything just turned into sugar and rainbows, because I know that didn't happen with me, but I know it was an ongoing process. So now take us through, after going through that, getting yourself unblocked and being able to, unlock your true potential. Like, what did that look like for you moving forward? How did that help you going through life, moving forward? And also, like, how did you handle struggles now differently, since you had a different mindset and a perspective?
Yeah. So to be clear, that started in when I was about 23, 24 years old. So that was about 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Sorry, my bad. My bad, y'all. 10 years ago, right? About 9-10 years ago. I'm still unblocking, bro. I'm still unblocking or getting rid of the trauma. Still. I would say I'm about 9 years into my self-development journey. With that said, I was blocking, and everyone listening to this, and we're blocking our own blessings. We're the ones holding ourselves back because of our limiting beliefs. When I found what it was that was where it started, at least now I knew, now I had clarity on why I am the way I am. And I feel like that was the first thing. So it helped me now to start removing any fear. And I realized that it was fear that these limiting beliefs were causing me. It was fear of not having, fear of failure, fear of rejection. It caused all sorts of fears within me. And once I started getting rid of those fears, because I realized, oh, they're imaginary, man, I'm limitless. Then now I was making decisions from an elevated standpoint. Because one thing that I was learning was lower vibrational states can only produce lower vibrational results, So I had been operating from a state of limit and scarcity and not being enough, and whether or not I could make it and whether or not I was good enough. And now when I was peeling back this onion and all the mold was coming off, and and I feel new, alive. Now I was processing things realistically, like, okay, it's okay for me to fail along this journey. Because if I would have had the mindset that I had of scarcity, lack, fear, anxiety, and I go into entrepreneurship where it's the jungle, where it's nothing but hopelessness, fear, anxiety, everything is risk.
Yeah.
Everything is risk and rejection. And in order to get through to success, how does Napoleon Hill say it? He says, it seems like there's an invisible tour guide whose sole responsibility is to test you through every manner of failure and temporary defeat before one makes it to what we call the big money. Every person who makes it there, barring anybody who's fed a silver spoon, right? If you're going to get there, you're going to be tested through all manner of temporary defeat. So if I'm coming in with that mindset, bro, I would have never made it. But when I was starting to unleash this beast of, man, I'm limitless, I think that's what started preparing me to deal with all the hardship that entrepreneur brings about. And the first 2 to 3 years was nothing but that. It was just nothing but failed ventures, a bunch of failed MLMs. I tried to start a cleaning business. That joint failed. You know what I mean? Tried to do sales, direct marketing sales. All of those ventures failed. And then finally, I started selling energy door to door. Bro, finally, I cut my teeth and started making some money, bro. Selling door. I built a whole team and realized, man, I'm good at building sales teams. I could build a team. I could run a small little organization. And in 2017, started getting my first real taste of money. I don't think 6 figures yet, but was making some money. And my mom gets diagnosed with cancer, and it's severe. And she's like, you should. At the time I live in Chicago, she lives here in San Antonio. She was like, you should consider moving down here because, you know, I want to see you as much as possible. I know the language she's speaking right now, so I'm like, say less. Dropped everything and moved down here and lost my business because of that. Credit went down. You know, I had a company vehicle that got repoed because I was starting over, and energy is regulated, and so I couldn't sell energy here in San Antonio. So I had to start all over, and started selling mobile homes, and did the same thing. Hit rock bottom. Was living at home with mom, and 2017 was like a transition year. And very humbling, bro. Went from making money to living at home with my mother, taking care of her. Did that for about a year, and really started to make a name for myself in the mobile home world, making, you know, sales and whatnot. Now, while I'm selling mobile homes and I'm making money, I advanced to becoming a sales manager. Okay, built a small team. Now, while I'm there, there's this super hood Mexican vato. Dude comes in with khaki suits and a white tee and a chain and, you know, Converse, you know what I mean? And his name is Frank Aldana. Okay?
Oh, Frankie, baby.
Oh, Frankie. And Frank was always impressive to me because there's not an insincere bone in this man's body. Who he is who he is at any given moment of the day. He's just a real dude. And Frankie was my number one sales guy. But he was also talk about how he was wholesaling real estate contracts, and he was making more money doing that than he was selling mobile homes. Now, previously, I had heard about this in Chicago, and I had become obsessed with this concept. I just hadn't done a deal yet. So now it's 2017, about mid-2017, and I keep hearing Frankie talk about wholesaling contracts. And I'm like, bro, if I were to do this, can you help me on my lunch break? And he's like, yes, bro, absolutely. I'm like, say less. So started sending out direct mail, bro. Like writing letters, sending out direct mail. And long story short, my first 5 deals, I would send the deals over to Frankie, and he would get them sold for me. He made me my first little bit of money in this business. He actually, in the truest sense of the word, he was actually my first mentor.
Wow.
To be
Shout out to Big Frank.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But where it went from there was, all right, I had saved up some money. All right. And now we're closing out 2017. I saved up some money, and I'm like, man, if I've made this amount of money part time, what could I do if I was full time? So I went to my general manager, and I said, I want to put in my 30-day notice because, you know, I am a sales manager here. You know, I can help you clear out. And I had about $20,000 in my pipeline that was net to me, that was coming to me over the next couple of weeks. And I told my sales manager, you know, I'd like to put in my 30-day notice, but I'll help you, you know, get another sales manager in place. And he's like, you know what? Actually, you could just give me your keys. And I was like, no, please don't do this to me, because I was really banking on that 14K. I needed that 14K. And he was like, nah, just give me your keys. We can make do without a sales manager. And I was like, really? I thought I was doing a good thing. I was trying to be a good Samaritan over here. Like, not just dip as your salesman, just dip out on you after I cash out. But he was like, nah, I beat you to the punch. You know what I mean? So put my back against the wall. I had to go home that day and tell, the lady, I don't have a job. I need to make this work. Mm-hmm. And so back was against the wall. Long story short, I put about $5,000 into marketing. Within 3 weeks, within 3 to 4 weeks, I hit my first $14,000 deal after going broke. I went completely broke, by the way. Mm-hmm. $14,000, then a $28,000 deal, then a $38,000 deal. I will never forget the cadence of those 3 deals that happened within my first 2 months of going full time. I had never made money like that before, ever. And here I am in my first quarter, and I'm making what I had previously made an entire year in my first 2 months. So that was the beginning. That was in 2017, and then from there it was a wrap, bro. It's been a journey. It's all she wrote. All I needed was the taste of the blood. Mm-hmm. Once I got that taste of blood, then it was a wrap.
He's ready to hunt.
Yep.
That's it, man. But it's like, it's crazy because, on the way there, and us talking about it right now, it sounds like, oh, that was just such a simple thing, just had to man up a few times and handle it, you know what I mean? And no big deal, we got it. But in truth, there's like, in those moments of uncertainty, like when they let you go from MH Direct, right? You didn't want to, I didn't.
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
Okay. Don't worry, they'll edit it.
I don't mind.
But
MH Direct, fam. Y'all know what it is.
I know they regret the fuck.
Oh,
out of
I
that.
know they do, bro.
I know they regret the fuck out of it. Like,
I know.
I want to say I remember you telling me about this. Like I think you told me about this when
I hope they see this interview. You know what I mean?
I remember you telling me about this when we were in my living room, bro, and how I remember you really thought, yeah, man, I was doing things like how you're supposed to, not even a 2-week notice. I'm giving you like, hey, in 30 days, I got to move on. You know what I mean? But I can rock out for 30 days. And they were just like, get out of here,
Actually, give me your keys right now.
Yeah, like right now. Don't even finish the shift. Just like, let me get the keys. Go ahead and see yourself out.
Yep.
That's rowdy. But like that, I bring that, I take us back to that because in that moment, for a lot of people, in that moment, it's like, holy shit. Like they go into straight panic mode. Mm-hmm. And your mind was like, all right, the boats have been burned. Time to go conquer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I always use that analogy because I love that story of Alexander the Great. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, we've used that before in our speeches to the team,
mm-hmm.
Where literally, when you're in that do or die situation or when your back's against the wall, pressure either busts pipes or it makes diamonds. Mm-hmm. But to have that mentality in that moment to create that shift, that was able to be done because of what you had poured into yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You pouring into yourself gave you that strength, gave you that know-how, or that, I guess, that self-proclamation within mm-hmm. yourself, letting you know, hey, I'm going to get this done. Mm-hmm. So, like, what was the reaction from the family when you were going through that? Like, before, what was the reaction with the lady? Like, how did she handle it? Was she a trooper, or was she like, oh, shit, you got to figure something out?
Nah, she was a trooper. Yeah, she was a trooper because she was an entrepreneur, too.
So she understood.
Yeah. She understood the
That's
assignment.
a good thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't blessed in that regard.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. But even so, like, all right, so now you've got support, which is great, but it's actually putting in the work. Mm-hmm. You got to dig yourself out of the situation. You could have all the support in the world, but if you don't take action, then it amounts to nothing. Mm-hmm. So what did the action that you took look like?
Once I was let go?
Yeah, like once you were let go, because like you told us, all right, you dropped some money into it,
yep.
and went in. But what did the action look like? And the reason why I'm bringing this is because a lot of people say, "Oh, I grind," and see, telling me you grind and showing me through your actions you grind is two completely different things. And see, like, I know you on a personal level. I know what your grind looks like, but I want you to tell them what it looked like on a daily basis for you. Like when you went all in, when you committed to either succeed or fucking succeed, because failure is not an option. What did that look like on a daily basis?
Yeah.
What was your mindset like? What were the actions that you were doing? Like, how did you start your day and finish it?
Yeah. So for me, it was very simple. I identified what my IPA was, which is what's my most my highest yielding income producing activity. I knew the thing that I could be doing was being on the phones. Anything other than that was a distraction to me. So I had my little list that I would put together, and it was a piece of paper, by the way, sheets of paper printed with the name, address, phone number of the seller.
This is like a Google spreadsheet, right? That was just straight printed out.
Yeah, that I printed out.
I want you to break it down because I know what it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We went through the pits together.
Facts.
You know what I mean. We went through the gladiator pits together.
Yep.
But I want you to tell them what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that a few years ago, this real estate shit wasn't as easy as it is now. Like right now, we're like kids in a candy store.
Yep.
But back in the day, that shit required some serious work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So
Yep.
what did that look like? You got a Google spreadsheet with probably how many names and numbers on it?
On each page probably had about 30, and the column went, first name, last name, address, and then the phone number. And so the way I would do it was if I called the person and they didn't answer, it was a yellow. If they did answer, then I would put the note, and then whatever the response is, the follow-ups would go into a different sheet that I would keep track of in a folder. But everything was on sheets of paper. And what I would do is 8 a.m., on the dot, fam. 8 a.m. because I remember I came from sales. So I know that 8 a.m. is when it's okay to start prospecting. Anything with a 7 in front of it or earlier, it's like, wait, what are you doing, right?
You violate.
Yeah, exactly. But 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., I'm doing trench work is what I called it. I'm in the trenches. I'm either on appointments, making offers, meeting with somebody who can help advance the business, or I'm making calls. Anything else is a distraction. So for me, it's like it was inevitable to be successful. You know what I mean? And by the way, I was consistent with that routine Monday through Saturday.
Because consistency is freaking key.
It's the most important thing, bro. It's the most important thing because I would rather somebody only do 50 to 80 dials a day for 90 days straight than to get super motivated after hearing this show and they go out and do 300 dials tomorrow and then they're burnt out the next day and now they don't stick with the habit. I'd rather, stay consistent over a long period of time because the compound effect is gonna take place, which states that small behaviors done over a long period of time yields to massive rewards. You know what I mean? But it's the long period of time that gets us. You know what I mean? It's so hard to be consistent as humans.
And, it's hard to be consistent and take action consistently, right? But then it's even harder when you're taking L's. Because see, like in the beginning of the journey, it seems like you take the most L's in the beginning. You don't realize it, like where we're at right now, right? And we look at some of the L's we take now and we're like, oh, fuck, they're monumental. You know what I mean? Oh, crap, this just set back, weeks or whatever, right? But the L's are like scattered. They're not really as predominant as they were in the beginning. Like in the beginning with all the learning and the learning curves and just getting going and keeping that consistency going, there was a lot more L's taken. That's why I always like to look back at the past because it reminds me that it ain't as bad. You know what I mean? Like right now it's not as bad as what it was. Like when we started out and we had nothing and we were rubbing 2 pennies together trying to make sense, that was when it was struggling. Right now we're in a position where we can overcome anything because we've built up that callus within us to just go out and take action, be consistent, and we know we're going to get results. But one thing I feel like you've really and one thing you inspired me on, I remember we had a meeting with the team back in, what was it, like 2018, right? We had a meeting with the team, and numbers were looking a little low. We'd taken a couple L's, and the room temperature was like super fucking frigid. You know what I mean? Everybody was just like, I felt like we were getting ready to have a mutiny. I remember I was looking at you. I was like, bro, we got to figure this out. Like we gotta go. And you were like, P, you know what we got to do? We want to get results faster. We got to take all out massive action. He said, we've been taking action, but we've been doing what we've always been doing. And see, since we're not getting the results we were getting before, we need to switch it up so we can get results. And the way we switch it up, P, I never forget you telling me this, we got to go hard, bro. We got to go stupid dumb hard right now. We have to go harder than we've ever gone, and then we have to keep doing it over and over and over again. And you were like, and what'll come from this is by taking double or triple the amount of action we've taken the day before or the week before, we're going to get to our results faster. And see, not everybody has the innate ability to dig deep in themselves and do it, let alone push a team to do it, bro. But you are a fucking master at that. How did you get that in you? Because I know there's people that are listening to this that want to bring out that lion. You know what I mean? Like E.T. says all the time, you know, everybody out here want to be a lion until they got to do what lions do. So how did you bring that lion out in yourself? What gave you that hunger, like that true hunger? Because there's a lot of this half-ass bullshit, weak hunger out here. I want to get money. I want to do this. But you know, they ain't really got it. They like they say, they ain't got that dog in them. You know what I mean? What helped you get that dog that got fighting, that's got heart?
I think for me, I have the perfect concoction, bro. It's fear and pleasure, and I use them both intentionally. It's not, you know, some people, Napoleon Hill says there's some people who stumble across the laws of success coincidentally, and they don't know why they're successful. But if you study their life, he says, you'll see the laws of success. And he says, then there are other people that learn about it and intentionally apply the laws of success. I'm not one of those, I don't know, bro, I just got it. Like, nah, I wanted to be a leader. My dad named me Aaron Solomon Alexander because those are three leaders in history. He programmed me as a child to be a leader. So I've intentionally wanted to be a leader. So I understand that what makes a difference between a leader and a follower is a leader just doesn't need to be told. He's not perfect, but he doesn't need to be told. So he will always lead in any room with or without a title because he doesn't need to be told. And so how do you get that? Because that's hard. The biggest paradox, me and Q were watching a movie the other day, and it said there's nothing more common than something like men who are geniuses with mediocre results. There's nothing more common than a talented man living a normal life. And it's the worst thing, according to Ray Kroc. And I believe that. And so for me, I knew there's two things that drive humans. I know what drives me. It's pain and pleasure. So for me, I have gone through so much pain in my life. I don't like to talk about it, but that pain drives me to want to protect and provide and impact for the better. I want my family to feel secure. I want my friends to be protected. I want my community. I want to be able to impact the community. I want to leave a stamp on the earth. So that pain, those things that I experience, it moves me to want to help. And in addition to, I never want to feel certain feelings again. So that pain drives me, bro. Also the pain of failing the people that look up to me. Man, I think about that vividly, bro. And I think about, oof, I can't do that. All right, let me get up. Or, okay, let me do this. Or I got to adjust. This is not going away. You know what I mean? So it's that pain. And then the next thing is the pleasure. I'm a very status driven person. I don't feel like I'm arrogant. I don't feel like I want to lord it over anybody, even if you give me power. but I am status driven. I do want to know. It's like Drake said, if I got it, then tell me I got it then, you know. I need acknowledgement. And so I do like being at the top of the totem pole. I do like it when I walk into a room and people stop talking or start talking. You know what I mean? I like when people sit back whenever I come in. I want to be an authority. I want to be respected. You know, I'm a whole grown man, and I feel like that's what men thrive off of. And I fear not being respected. So those two things drive me to take the initiative and to be able to lead a team. And in regards to what you said about leading, not everybody has that dog in them. It's like DJ Khaled said, bro. Everybody wants success, but they can't handle success. It is a lot of pressure constantly to achieve success, sustain success, lead a team, motivate a team, carry a team, and drive a team. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot to do that. So I think that's the perfect concoction right there. Otherwise, I don't see how anybody can sustain it. You know what I mean? Especially at the levels that we're trying to go to.
Yeah. Like it takes a certain drive, man. You gotta want it. But it's also in not just wanting it, because I think it's safe to say, like, everybody wants, you know, the glitz and glamour that they see. Even the people that sit here and say, I don't want nothing. Even they want some semblance of that. They may not want everything that comes with it, but they wouldn't turn it down if it was handed to them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you show me the one person that'll turn something down that's like extravagant that's given to them, and I might look at that person as, wow, maybe you have like that dog in you. You have a serious dog in you, because if you turn it down, because and that's if they turn it down and say, well, that's because I want to go get it myself. I don't want to hand it to me. But for the ones that will take the handouts, you know what I mean? They can't say they don't want that life. Who wouldn't want to be Kim Kardashian? Who wouldn't want to be DJ Khaled?
I think that the difference, P, is, in addition to what you're saying, is everybody wants the good life,
but they don't want to put in the work.
Well, it's not even that they don't want to put in the work, because even people who succeed don't want to put in, like, I don't want to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? I'll be real. I don't wake up and I'm like, yay, time to eat another doo-doo sandwich today. You know what I mean? But I think the difference is some people want it. Other people's have a burning desire, and it is a must that I will get rich or I will die trying.
Yeah.
That's the difference, because I heard a quote recently, bro. Brian Tracy, he said the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not that, it's that successful people are willing to do the things unsuccessful people are not willing to do. But successful people don't want to do it either. They do it anyway. You know what I mean? It's like the gym. You know what I mean? And I think that what makes the difference between the ultra successful people and just the top 20% is the ultra successful people then start to associate pleasure with doing the uncomfortable things. You know what I mean? That's when it's like, okay, that's about to become a genius in their own right. You know what I mean? Once you get to the point where you start liking the pain, you start liking the discomfort. Oh snap! Okay, you got to watch out, because that's a dangerous son of a gun.
Mm-hmm. That's how Arnold Schwarzenegger was, bro. I think it was either you or Q that put me onto that. Like, Arnold, old videos of Arnold training in the gym, talking about how he loves it, and they were asking, like, dude, how do you love this? Like, you're in here 6 hours a day training like a monster, ripping and tearing your muscles, and he's like, I love it. It feels so good. It's orgasmic. He's like, I'm here all day because I'm addicted to coming. And I remember I was like, what the fuck did he just say? He's like, literally, right now I'm working out and I'm coming, and I come all day. And I was like, bro, Arnold is bugging out, right? But then I literally, as I went on and as I kept watching, because like in the first instance when he said that, I was like, yo, Arnold's tripping, bro. But then as he went on to further elaborate on it, right, he was like, you know, I come in here, I put in the work, and the reason why I say it's euphoric or I'm coming is because when I'm putting in this work, I'm seeing the results of what I'm wanting. Like, I'm seeing what I want come into fruition, and it's the most pleasurable thing because I love what I'm seeing. And then he was like all flexing. He's like, I love it. I love what I'm seeing. It excites me. I want more. I want to get bigger. And I'm like, now I get it. Yeah. See, for him, working out was what he wanted to achieve. He wanted to be, Mr. Olympia, Mr. Universe, all that good shit. And he saw himself sculpting his body and perfecting it. He started out a ball of clay, but as he formed that clay, cooked it, chipped it, sanded it down, and perfected this marble figure that he was creating, right? He saw the results in the mirror as he was working, because he pushed himself not to do average, not to do what everybody else was doing, but he pushed himself stupid hard to get the results in half the amount of time everybody else was getting them, and to literally set the bar. You know what I mean? And he started to enjoy it because of the results. So it's just like, for us, we chase money. We're chasing a bag. We're chasing a bag. We're chasing a lifestyle. We're chasing a way of life, right? And every time we get that bag, every time we get a little notch up, a big deal closes, a 6-figure deal. Yeah, it feels great. But you ever notice what we do right after that? We go stupid dumb hard, because it's like, well, shit, if I did this and made this many calls this month and closed this many deals to get this bag, then if I go harder, well, I might could get the Ferrari by the end of summer. So it's like, then the pain becomes pleasure.
Yep.
Then the work is no longer work. The work becomes a way of life, a way of being. It becomes our everyday. And like, for us, we don't understand or comprehend how not to do what we're doing, how not to operate at this level, because we enjoy it. So I think for people out there who are listening, right, who are wanting to achieve any level of success, and by the way, success isn't necessarily monetary. You know what I mean? Sometimes success is just in what you're doing, the fact that you love it, the fact that you thrive at it, the fact that you're the best at it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be being a realtor or being a entrepreneur even. You can be the best at being the fucking film guys. You know what I mean? Some of them go on to make movies and create videos, music videos, all type of stuff. But they want to be the best. And you have to want to be the best at whatever it is that you do, I feel, in order to find that dog in you. It's got to be something that you want. It's got to be something that you're passionate about. You know what I mean? If it's something that your mom told you about, that she was passionate about, but you give no fucks about it, well, then you're not going to amount to shit in that.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But I think, from what you said, right? Your passion was in the lifestyle. Your passion was in the levels that could be achieved. What you could do, what you would be able to change. You know what I mean? Not just for you, but for those around you. That's your passion. You're passionate about that. And so it's in that you do your best work. You know what I mean? And I think if anybody can find that passion in what they're doing, I think that's like honestly step one. The next step is pouring into yourself like you did to make the better version of yourself. After all, it's not like you wake up and know, oh, you know what, this morning I'm going to get up and piss excellency and shit rainbows. It's going to be a fantastic fucking day. You know what I mean? We don't just magically think of that day going to be like that. We have a purpose. You know what I mean? We have a path to that. We have a goal in mind. There's something that we have to set ourselves on some level. And I think when you poured into yourself and you set you set the level or the bar that you wanted to get to, I think after that it's been a game of just constantly getting there over and over again, different levels, constantly growing, thriving, striving for more. You know what I mean? I think it's fucking dope, bro.
There's what you said just reminded me of there's a book called Built to Sell. And the author of the book says there's 3 types of entrepreneurs. There is, I want to say the first level is technician. The second one is a freedom fighter. The third one is the mountain climber. And these are all high performers. By the way, nothing wrong with either of them, just different categories of entrepreneurs, right? The first type of entrepreneur is called the technician. This is the person who's the entrepreneur that just they want to do great work. They're technical. They just want to be, you could call Michael Jordan was a technician because he just wanted to be the best at his craft. That kind of entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. He's the mechanic who wants to be the best mechanic. You could tell, man, the way he talks about his mechanic stuff, this man just wants to be the best mechanic. And it affects the way they run their business. Oftentimes very hands-on, is just them, small teams, perfectionists, high performers, but, they typically become the specialists. You know what I mean? That's the technician. The second kind of entrepreneur is the freedom fighter. This is the person that's like, listen, I don't have to be known for being the best. I'm here to create a business that gives me freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want, at any time that I want. You know what I mean? So that's the freedom fighter. That's the vast majority of entrepreneurs. And then you have the mountain climber. And the mountain climber is more in it for the thrill of the build. An actual mountain climber, he'll reach a summit, he'll prepare, he has the adrenaline, he reaches the top of the summit, and as soon as he reaches the summit, he gets to the top, he enjoys it for all of a few minutes, and then he's like, okay, cool, where's the next one? That's a mountain climber. And that sort of entrepreneur is the type of entrepreneur that even if they exit a company for $50 million, $100 million, you're going to see them. They'll go on vacation for a good 30 days, 90 days. Then they're going to come right back and be like, what's next? Mm-hmm. Whereas the average human, which there's nothing wrong with this, but the average human is going to be like, I'm set, fam. I'm not doing anything else. I just don't feel like I'm wired that way. I feel like I'm going to be working well into my 60s, 70s. In fact, check this out, P. I want to show this to you really quick while as we start to wrap up. Let me show you how serious I take this. I know that I'm going to be working well into my 60s. In fact, I'm going to be turning it up in my 60s because I have this written down where I have my goals for what I'm going to be worth. I'm worth $10 million by 2025. I'm worth $20 million by 38 years old. I'm worth $40 million by the time I'm 42. I'm worth $80 million by 45, 160 by 48, 320 by 51, 640 by 54, $1.2 billion by 58. That's my life roadmap. God willing, he gives me that much life. I don't know how the heck I'm going to get to some of these numbers. I have no idea how I'm going to be 20 million net worth by 38. But here's one thing I know. I want to be, and this goes into context with the mountain climber, what you reminded me of. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And that doesn't mean I just want to pursue licentious pleasure. I'm here to make an impact. That gets me high. That turns me on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And man, I just imagine my legacy years, 59 going into 60. I have to be a billionaire. I have to be a billionaire to live a life and leave a legacy as big as the one I want to lead. So I know that everything I'm doing now, this is just a journey, bro. Like, I know when I'm 60, I want to look back on these times and be like, yo, that was crazy. Yo, we did that. Because I don't want to, I'm even right now where I am, I still look back on certain years and certain times where I'm like, I could have went so much harder. Yeah. I could have, you know what I'm saying? And I hate that, bro.
Yeah, drives me nuts.
I cannot, bro. And this is as young as we're ever going to be. We only get one of these. You know what I mean? So lately I've been obsessing over my future self. I even do it now where when I make a decision that's good and it benefits me later in the week, I'll be like, man, thank you, old me, for making that decision that benefited me right now. You know, putting that in the calendar. I appreciate that because now I got a reminder to be on time. You know what I mean? Something even small like that. And I know it's gonna mean so much more because, bro, we're gonna be 58. It's not too far off. We're gonna be in our 50s and 60s soon. At that point, it's like I'm not trying to start my journey at that time. You know what I'm saying? You know, my life is half written already, you know, or more. So this is something that drives me, and this is why I feel like I'm more more of I'm a mountain climber, man. I'm not gonna stop working. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, bro. You know, and I love that mentality. You know what I mean? I like just that whole mindset of taking action is literally what I have survived and thrived off of, you know? Guys, I want to encourage you guys out there, wherever you're at on your path to wherever you're going. I think the biggest takeaway that we can take from today is to take all out massive action. Put the bullshit to the side and get focused. Figure out exactly what you want to do, set a plan of attack, and attack consistently. I think that's what it is more so today. Today, with what you brought today, I feel like it's more about consistent, all-out, massive action. Because without consistency, you don't have shit, you know? And consistency is what will get you the results. It may not look like nothing now. It may not look like nothing next week. It may not look like nothing 90 days, 6 months from now. But if you keep going, if you keep executing, you will get the results. It's almost like the world, the universe, God tests you. How bad do you really want it? You know, everybody wakes up and says, oh, I want to be a baseball player. Hey, I want to be a football player. I want to be a model. I want to be this, that, the other, a boxer, whatever, right? But how many people become technicians of their own desires and figure out how to take massive action repeatedly to get results? It's like practicing. That's what MJ was good at. Jordan was the king of practice, and he shared that with Kobe, with Curry, and so many other greats that literally you just practice taking the shot, and eventually it's going to go in. Eventually you'll get the movements down, the rhythm, and you'll be able to do it over and over again. And it's like that with life. If we come in, we create a plan of attack, we practice, take action, right? And we do it consistently every day, we're going to get better at what we're trying to do, and we'll get the results that we're trying to get. Fantastic story, brother. Man, I appreciate you today. Listen, man, please drop your socials. Guys, if you don't know, Earon is not just an entrepreneur. Like, he is a coach. He is a mentor. He is someone who has not only poured into me, but he's poured into thousands of others around this country. Like, this is a man who, like, when he pours into you, he's going to, one, hold your ass accountable. Two, he's going to really come up with a plan of attack for you to get to where you're trying to get to. And three, he's going to help you get there. But the most important thing is you got to put in just like he's going to put in. You know what I mean? So, guys, if you want to connect with Earon, give me your socials, brother.
Yeah, it's just my name, first and last name, EaronBevans. And that is at Earon Bevans on IG, on Facebook. That's where I dropped most of my stuff, and TikTok as well.
Dope, bro.
Yep.
And, man, you got anything coming up soon where the people can connect with you? Got any meetups, events? I mean, I know you're always speaking on somebody's stage, dropping jewels and value, but you got anything coming up that maybe they can meet up with you at?
We have a mixer, not a mixer. We have a boot camp that's coming up in June 23rd and 24th. Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, it's going to be a boot camp showing people how to build their businesses, their wholesaling real estate businesses from scratch, and organize it and create a business that runs with predictability and profitability. That's super exciting. But what I would say is, man, just connect with me on social media, because I'm always dropping content there. Sometimes it's funny, goofy content, and a lot of times it's informative. You know what I mean? So connect with me, and let's see how we can do some business together.
That's what's up, brother. Well, guys, listen, that's Self-Proclaimed for the day. You know, we don't charge nothing. We don't ask for nothing. But if you got some value from this, if you got a sense of urgency from what this man just told you today and feel like it's going to help you propel forward, only thing we ask for, give us a like, give us a share, tell the people about us so that way they can come here and get some value as well. We look forward to catching you on the next one. This is Self-Proclaimed.
I told them everything was all imagined, and that my mind was just a weapon that I meddled in to make magnets. Told them I would win, I would never stop. Told them I would make it, told them I would fucking climb up to the top. How I didn't climb mountains, wasn't afraid of the drop. Put my city on the map with a bucket and a mop. What you thought? That I would pack up and quit? My mama slapped me.